going back and forth.
How
So
are you?
I just wanted to kind of give you a little timeline of what happened. When the ordinance was passed to allow golf carts in the beach communities, unfortunately Crescent Beach didn't receive notice that we had an opportunity to opt out. When we found out about it, excuse me, I called Paul Formica and asked him what we needed to do. And he said all we needed to do was write a letter to him saying that Crescent Beach had opted out of the golf cart regulation. And so, but before we did that, we consulted with our attorney who said, what you need to do is really, it's a board decision, bring it to your membership and see what they're in favor, if they're not in favor of doing it. So we did that. We solicited feedback, and overwhelmingly, the Crescent Beach members said, we don't want golf carts. So we posted an agenda where we were going to take action on it at a board meeting. We held the board meeting. We took action. It was unanimously decided that we were going to opt out of the golf cart ordinance for Crescent Beach. The agenda was posted, followed up with a letter, excuse me, to Mr. Formica, saying that we had opted out of the resolution. The letter was mailed, called the office a couple days later to confirm that the letter had been received. Yes, the letter's received. Well, do we need to do anything else? No, you don't need to do anything else. Thank you very much. So we thought it was a done deal. This year, a couple weeks ago, somebody suggested that I contact Mr. Nickerson to confirm that everything was good and that no golf cart permits would be issued for Crescent Beach residents. And that's when I learned that something that should have happened never happened. So I'm here to ask you to please allow Crescent Beach to opt out of the golf cart ordinance, because we really don't want them. Okay, it's a safety issue. There's no place to park. It just really isn't a very feasible thing for Crescent Beach. Okay.
We don't communicate back and forth, but just to be clear, and I think you already said it, so I will ask a question in case you're not here when we're contemplating this, because we have such a long agenda this evening. Your board of directors voted
Unanimously no
not to
golf
have
carts.
golf carts in your beach association.
Correct. And
That would be important information for us.
Okay, and I have, I brought a copy of the agenda and the minutes and the letter from the attorney and a copy of the letter that was sent to Mr. Formica. And
Thank
I'll
you
leave
very
them
much.
with you.
Darlene?
Okay.
If you have a copy to Darlene.
Yeah, I'll leave everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you
Thank
very,
you
very
very
much.
much,
Okay,
Carol.
thank you.
More?
Hello there, my name is Carol Mirko. I live at 61 Walnut Hill Road in East Lyme. And all I want to say is that please take into consideration what these people with the cell tower are talking about, because you don't want another solar farm. I mean, they were supposed to build that farm in phases. Again, like a temporary tower and then a solid tower. But instead, they cut 35 acres down and put in the solar field. Again, with the siting council, no environmental studies, no nothing. They didn't really care. They were going to put it there. And they just told everybody that this is what we're going to do. And like I said, I mean, if they put that temporary tower there, maybe they won't even put it temporary. They'll just go, well, we might as well just finish it now. That's what they did at the solar farm. And, we downstream are paying for it, because all their water that came from their 4 failed retention ponds just coursed down that river and made damage you can't even believe. And that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Third time. Anyone else? Oh. Going, gone.
I'll be quick.
Not gone.
Cell tower person here.
Your name and
Anti-cell
your
tower
address.
person here. Judy Best, 24 Wayne Drive. And I would say that my land abuts Ancient Highway, except actually I own up until the middle of Ancient Highway. All the land that went up against Ancient Highway, we got in our warranty deeds a separate parcel showing that we owned into the middle of Ancient Highway. Now, yesterday, when the siting council was there, it was mentioned that Ancient Highway was a private road. You yourself mentioned it. And he said, oh no, that's a road that's been abandoned by the town of East Lyme. Well, when East Lyme abandoned it, apparently it was deeded over to all the property owners that abutted it, one of whom is the town of East Lyme. There is a small open space there. It was an undevelopable, if that's a word, lot. in the Pond View subdivision. And I'm at 24 Wayne, so it's on my border. And I guess that would mean that the town also owns a little part of Ancient Highway. So the easement says people owning lots like 1 and 2 that are under discussion tonight, they have the right of passage, and they have the right of passage to improve their property. Well, since this is all zoned residential, I don't believe there would be any assumption that improving your property would be putting up a cell tower. Putting up a shed, expanding your house, putting in a better driveway, that's all reason to go up and down Ancient Highway with trucks to improve your property. But residential area, cell tower, mutually exclusive.
Thank you, Judy. Anyone else? Anyone else? Yeah.
I'm Pat Fleming from 10 Seebeck Road, and I just wanted to ask, is it possible for the town to purchase those 2 parcels that are in question?
We can't
Or
respond
adjacent to
now.
that?
We can't respond in the public delegation portion. I can respond later. And I responded yesterday on the street, so I think
Oh,
a few people.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
It's possible.
We'll be discussing it fairly soon.
We'll certainly be discussing it, next on the agenda. I'll certainly bring up the answer to that. How's that? Anyone else? Rocco, anyone else? Okay. Anyone on any other issue? Okay, we'll move on in our agenda then. Approval of minutes of the meeting of April 1st, 2015.
Move to approve the minutes of the meeting of April 1, 2015.
Second.
Any comments, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
One abstention.
There you go. Approval of minutes of public hearing of April 15th, 2015.
Move to approve the minutes of the public hearing of April 15th, 2015 as submitted.
Second.
Any comments, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Whoa. Did we have a meeting that night? Yes, we did.
The 2 of you
Quorum.
did.
Right, we didn't have a quorum,
Two of
so,
you.
so 2, 0, 3. It's a bad night. We've moved, consent calendar, 1E.
Move to approve the consent calendar for the meeting of May 6, 2015 in the amount of $8,230.82.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, we moved to L to the top, so we'll open up a discussion, proposed cell tower, Ancient Highway. First reason we do this is so you kind people can go back to your families. There's no such thing as overkill unless you're talking about a tower in the middle of a couple neighborhoods. It's overkill there. One of the nicer nights I had was when I sat here and called a neighborhood group meeting, saying, "I just want you to know what's happening because I don't think all of you know." And it was an information session, and I think we had a similar crowd that night of size. And while I may have appeared neutral on the subject, it was more of an informational session. It was important to do that. You folks took the ball and ran with it, and I'm extremely happy that you did that. The subtle hints. The town has a I believe, I'm speaking to the commission now, the town has an obligation here. As you can see, this is smack dab in the middle of 3 clusters of homes. While you're there and you're standing and you're looking up where the tower would be, it seems remote, but then I'm 6 feet high. I'm not 180 feet high. And if I was at the top of a 180-foot cell tower, or even an 80, I'd see the rooftops of a whole lot of buildings. To answer the question, I believe the landowner the other evening, yesterday afternoon, said $3 million and it's yours. And We typically, well, the last couple open space deals this town has supported has been in the $19,000, or was it 12? Why is 12 all of a sudden hit my bed? It was in the teens of per acre, $12,000, $18,000 per acre. I don't know how many acres there. We can do that. We can certainly make a an offer, but I'm not. I think we're going to be pretty far away from 3 million, and frankly, I know you guys would come out and support that. There's several thousand people in town that might say, so I think we should fight it. Again, I'd speak to the commission. I think the town has a reason to be at the table. Let's put it that way. I don't believe it belongs, and I said it that evening, it doesn't belong in neighborhoods. There are remote areas. Contrary to what was written in the paper, I have offered, since our meeting, a packet this big, prepared by our planning director, complete with GIS maps and GPS coordinates and landowners and land records and all that, and maps, 6 alternate sites that could be looked at that are in the general vicinity. They made it seem to me on the site walk yesterday that they're looking at a very, very tight radius of where to put this thing to reach the maximum number of people that they were going to lose by bringing a tower from the permanent location to this temporary location. We are one fight at a time. We're fighting a temporary tower that's 80 feet tall. The big one's coming, and we will meet again. And but we need to fight on this one too. There are wetlands that will be affected. The Connecticut Siting Council has not been a friend to East Lyme, based on some of the testimony you heard tonight about the solar farm. In the Brainerd Road 180-foot tower, if you haven't been down Black Point Road, look across the marsh, and you'll see a big tower in the air, and that's the 180-foot tower that was proposed and built and fought with this many people in the room 4 or 5 years ago. And it's you could probably hit a 7-iron from Ed Jatilla's house to the base of the tower. He lives in the shadow of the tower. And he couldn't stop it. I'm asking that the Board of Selectmen authorize me to apply for intervenor status, to employ our town attorney in our commissions to look over the environmental impact, the property value impact, the zoning impact. They don't care about zoning, but we certainly will let them know this is surrounded by families and residential. This is nowhere close to an industrial or a commercial zone. So we do want to make that communication to the Siting Council. Your discussions tonight were all heard. This commission is very responsive, and they do listen. They know how to listen. This is a friendly board. Your next one won't be as friendly. Show up with the signs. Show up with the kids. Show up, and we'll all have our arguments. And I concur. I think it belongs in industrial zones, or along the highway at least. I mean, on the highway. They could also. My guess is I'm insurance agent. Does this now? They could do smaller towers down even Route 1. If that was their zone, that a couple 80-foot towers would spread their radius and their coverage map out to their desire. But of course, that costs them more money because there's more rentals, and more power and more generators and all those things. But that's the argument for the 180. Anyway, I'll open it up for discussion.
Mark, what I think would be a great idea too is, in addition to, after we have a resolution we'll be considering in a few minutes, but also probably a letter from either you or from all the board, from the entire Board of Selectmen, to Paul Formica as well as Ed Jatilla, asking for any assistance they can give us too. Granted, it's frustrating dealing with the siting council. We saw that up on Walnut Hill, especially after they started cutting up there. Before the problems, and I'm sure Ms. Ballins can remember, even before the rains came that caused these problems, you went up there and saw the deforestation, and it was, you know, it was awful to look at. It was devastating, to say the least. I think if we can see if we can get anything to get their help. I don't know if it raises to the federal level where we could try and get a hold of our Senator or Congressman Courtney, who have always been very helpful whenever possible. Also, if you've given a list of alternate sites, or you have, I know that, have they just responded verbally, or have they said, no, this is why it has to go here? Because maybe it'd be nice to have something in writing from AT&T or Singular Wireless, whoever would be signing it or sending the letter, to see what their absolute reasons are that this is the only viable place. Because we have proposed other ones. Let's see what they have to say in writing, not just verbally.
Yeah. To answer your question, and we'll keep going, and to be fair to them, I only gave them the alternate sites about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So, or 10 days ago. So, have they performed all their technical review on this? No, probably not. Might they? Should they? Did they tell me that they would look at it and do their due diligence? Yes. The comments we heard from the siting council yesterday and the tower people were it has to be here to, as close to the current tower as possible to keep the radius as
Tight.
as whole as possible, if you will. So they're really looking narrowly right now. When they go to the big tower, they could look broadly.
Okay.
But they've already indicated this is their preferred site,
Site.
and this is the most convenient site. And as Rocco and others pointed out, the land's already going to be cleared. The infrastructure is already going to be there. It's really easy for the siting council to rubber stamp this thing and say, easy. So, Mark?
No, I just concur and thank the public for coming out. Your voice was definitely heard. I concur. It's with the siting council, you could have one landowner, profit with the sacrifice of the neighbors. This is obviously an example. It's very close to the neighborhood. It's obvious that it's in another neighborhood now, and it's obviously those people don't want it there. So it's the same thing here. We're putting it there. So also, I think Rocco mentioned zoning. Zoning does have regulations already. They've been in place for 15 years, and it does exactly what you said. At the last one on Brandon Road, I believe the zoning official actually testified before the siting council.
Okay.
So that is absolutely in there, and use that, when we go forward. That's there. So
Good to know.
but everything else, I concur, and I think we should go forward with this with our feet running.
Comments?
I will just stress what Kevin said. I would suggest getting in touch with our elected state officials. The problem with the siting council is not one that's going to go away. I think we need to apply pressure so that unelected officials on a distant board are not constantly making decisions that affect our everyday lives. Am I not working? I understand the need of AT&T, as one of the commenters said. Yeah, everybody wants good cell phone coverage as you're going along and it goes out, and you're on your Bluetooth. It gets annoying. On the other hand, this is something that you're going to wake up every morning and see. So again, my point, please contact your elected officials. You may not change it overnight, but I think our local residents should have a say on something that's going to be there long term.
Back almost a month ago when Jim called me, and it took the wind out of me, quite honestly. I've sat through, in 20-something years, doing this. I think this is the 5th tower. And the last one on Brainerd Road really, the state representative lived 300 yards from it. And yeah, that's what I was telling Jim. You got to get a hold of Ed. You've got to get a hold of Paul. It's out this level. If we send everyone we have, and make sure that they've done all the things that they have to do as far as the town side of it goes, with ordinances, commissions. We do all that, and they still say, we're going to do what we want to do. And that's what they did with the Amtrak corridor. That's what they're doing with this I-95 corridor. And Mark is correct. They zero it down to that little spot, and it's like it's set in stone. So, Rich, the 10 to 40% property value decrease, that's this thing that I think I take to heart, is that you never get that back. You know, I mean, the picture of your house with it behind you and behind Jim's, I mean, you just can't get that back. I mean, that you see that from miles and miles away. So we will do our part as we've done in the past, and I think you guys as a group, you need to keep pushing all the buttons, and we will do our side of it and do the same thing, and bring them back as many times as we need to go over it. But I applaud your work, and perhaps maybe we could be one of the first that turns one down and moves it aside and puts it somewhere else. But there's still hope out there that there's one of these other sites could potentially be something. So thank you all for coming out.
Yeah. Do you have a motion?
I do have it right
Do we
here.
have a motion? Okay.
The resolution. Propose the following: a resolution regarding intervention into the matter pending before the Connecticut Siting Council to place a temporary cell phone tower on Ancient Highway. Whereas New Singular Wireless, PCS, LLC, AT&T, has filed a petition for a declaratory ruling before the Connecticut Siting Council to place a temporary cell phone tower on Ancient Highway, and whereas interested parties may intervene in such proceedings, and whereas the town of East Lyme is an interested partner and may intervene in the pending application to ensure that the interests of the town and its citizens are addressed, accommodated, and enforced, it is resolved that the town attorney is authorized to prepare and file such documents as may be necessary to intervene in the matter pending before the Siting Council and take such action as the first selectman considers to be necessary or desirable.
Second.
It's been seconded twice. Any further comments? My comments are thank you for coming out. We're not partners, but we're working on the same team, heading in the same direction, going down the field to the same goal. So go get them. And when, the legislation needs to change in Connecticut, because for them to come in and just take over is, we've seen it 3 times now. And the permanent tower will be the 4th time in 5 years that they come in and flex their muscle. So hopefully we're flexing back on this and they hear us, okay? Any further comment? All in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Thank you again for coming out.
Take 5 while they do anything for
Because many of you do want to go home and watch The Voice or something while we're working, I'm going to just adjourn for about 3 minutes while you can clear the room and feel like, and if you're going to converse, you got to go way out there, okay? And then we'll go about our business. Good job, buddy. Good job.
Hey, man. Good to see you.
See you.
Take care, Roscoe.
It's there, and we've used it, and it was for that exact reason, and they ignore it every time. They,
Mics are back on.
Okay. Rob? We're going to call this meeting back to order. Thank you. Thank you to the group that has now departed for the most part, not to say they've all departed. You're still here. So 2A on our new business agenda. Let's start moving through this now. Public hearing regarding amendment to the ordinance prescribing fees for building and demolition permits. This is an action on the public hearing. We heard no comments from the public at either meeting. We have heard from the building official that this will help him. It'll be a tool in his toolbox. Not always used. Use that as discretion. What's your pleasure?
I move the ordinance.
Second.
You want to read the whole thing?
Move to.
Probably should,
Do we read it? No, I guess you're.
We don't.
That's fine.
We've read it a million.
Yep.
Right.
Effective
Estimated.
10 days
Okay.
after publication, Joe. Okay. Motion to move the ordinance as written, and it's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? 2B is a request to approve the expenditure from the Para House account. This is up to $500 in support of the upcoming annual Celebrate 90 Plus Tea. The vendors are not known at this point, and up to $500 to add 2 additions to the staging at the community center in support of the senior center's drama group. These additions were not used for the stage. We placed out in the hallway to act as seating. And Kathy says she's working with Ron Bentz. Vendors are not known at this point, but she'll get that information shortly. The Para House account is a fund that they tap into for expenses exactly like this.
I'll move to approve the following expenditures from the Nicholas Parahouse account as approved by the Commission on Aging. Up to $500 in support of the upcoming annual Celebrate 90 Plus Tea, and up to $500 to add 2 additions to the stage at the community center in support of the senior center's drama group.
Second.
It's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? The next item is the transfer to police overtime account. Am I right? Just nudge me if I get offline here. The police department overtime budget was, I think, reshaped in the budgeting process last year. We're coming to the end of this fiscal year, and they are running short. It's overexpended by $1,024 currently, and they estimate they're going to need another $43,765